official.
Carry guns in school.
All right, I'm back, miss.
World's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there is one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doane Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doane Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doane Ford. Online at DoaneFord.com.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hello, everyone, from the Watchdog. I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly cloudy with showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. A daytime high near 56. The overnight low of 30 degrees. Under mostly cloudy skies, clouds, sunshine in store for your Friday, with highs in the low 50s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Do you know what today is?
No way.
The Great American Smokeout.
By quitting smoking, you reduce your risks for high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, and lung cancer.
And that is why it's the Great American Smokeout. The American Cancer Society's Great American Smokeout.
Giving up smoking is easy. I should know. I've done it thousands of times. Welcome if you got them.
No, that's the opposite of what I just said.
It's showtime.
News, information, conversation, controversy, and fun. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
And the temperature just keeps on dropping. We started out at over 60 this morning. 59 was the temperature when we kicked the show off all across the board. Then it's dropped, and dropped. We are now down to 44 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 45 degrees here at my home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 45 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. It is rainy, it is windy outside, and that's pretty much the way of the day. The high today, 62, but that was a long time ago. We're going down closer to 40 before the afternoon is over and done with, and we'll see showers and rain throughout the day today. So that's what you have to look forward to. What have we been doing here on the Watchdog Morning Show? Wheeling's Winter on the Plaza was held last night. I said it looked like a Hallmark movie moment. It was a huge crowd on Wheeling's Plaza with the Santa Claus was there and music was playing and the Christmas tree was lit. And it was just a great event, just an old-fashioned Ohio Valley community Christmas event on the plaza. Really great to see that happen, especially after everything sort of being not around at all last year. So big event at Winter on the Plaza last night. Tomorrow night is the Christmas parade in the city of Wheeling, the Fantasy and Lights Parade. You're going to be aware of the traffic changes that are going on there. We've run them down for you. You can find them on the Big Seven's website and so on. Be careful. If you're in town after about 4 o'clock tomorrow, it's going to be hard to get out of town. So you'd want to kind of plan your day, get out of town early if you're not staying around for the parade. Maybe come down early and have dinner at Ellie and Jack's or at the Bridge Tavern or Vagabond Kitchen or River City Market Vines, whatever. So plan your day tomorrow. It's going to be a busy Christmas evening in the city of Wheeling. Also, Saturday, I got it right, Biff.
Yes.
Saturday is the Moundsville Christmas Parade at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's a bit of what we've been talking about already this morning. Have some more holiday stuff coming up in just a little bit. 9:13 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. But today is the Great American Smokeout. And it's interesting. The American Cancer Society, Biff, says 70% of people who smoke would like to quit. Is that the experience you've seen? Do you think that people who do smoke would like to quit, they just can't?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's tough to find, ways to quit. But yeah, I think for the most part that I'd say that's about a right percentage.
Yeah, an awful lot of people I know who do smoke and smoke like an addict, well, because they are addicts, know they're addicts and often say, I wish I could quit, but it's not that easy. And I know somebody will text us quit. Well, addiction that's not that easy to just quit. There's physical addiction to cigarettes, to the nicotine. Then there's sort of the mental addiction. A lot of people get up in the morning, got to have a cup of coffee and a cigarette, right? And if they don't have the cigarette, their day doesn't start right. So it's not easy to do, but it's also amazing. Smoking is one of the biggest causes of heart disease, cancer, and death. And it is also one of the most, and those diseases are among the most preventable, Biff, because if you just stop smoking, your chances of having those problems go down dramatically. They don't disappear, but they go down dramatically. So if you're looking for a motivation, maybe today's the day to just decide you're going to quit. And I know it's hard just to decide. Cold turkey is a difficult thing to do. Although I got to tell you, I think I knew some folks who did the hypnosis thing many years ago, Biff. I think, and I know people use the patch and that kind of stuff. I think most people who I know, this is just personal, I don't have any statistics on this. I think most people I know who have quit cold turkey, who've just said, that's it, I'm done, tend to have a greater long-term, it lasts longer. They stay away from cigarettes longer, sometimes all their lives. When they just sort of make a decision, that's it, I'm done, and they stop. Not easy to do. I understand that. I'm not criticizing anybody who. Listen, I criticize you for smoking because I think it's a terrible thing for you. It's a terrible thing for society. It's a terrible thing for your kids. Terrible thing, whatever. But I do understand. I do understand the addiction. So today, Great American Smokeout. It's an opportunity for you to make the decision to stop smoking. In conjunction with the Great American Smokeout, the American Lung Association always issues their annual report on smoking. And yet again, Biffy, we're number one. We're number one. West Virginia, the worst state for smoking in the nation. We have more people who smoke, percentage-wise, than any place else in the country. And we are not number one, but we are in the top handful of states, the worst states, for the number of new lung cancer cases and screenings. And those two are connected. The fact that we're the worst in the nation for smoking is not unrelated to the fact that we are also among the worst in new lung cancer cases. Now, can you get lung cancer if you don't smoke? Yes, you can. You know how I know that? I did. Okay. I was never a smoker. Now, please don't get me wrong. Back in the days at Philadelphia High School, once or twice we'd go under the bridge and everybody smoking, and I'd say, yeah, let me try one of those. Well, my voice wasn't that deep. I'd say, let me try one of those. And, Biff, did you ever smoke, Biff?
No.
Did you ever try, you've tried a cigarette?
No.
Oh, it's horrible. You take the first, and you go, what in God's, and you take a couple of puffs, and what in the world? Why would people keep on doing this to themselves? That's what I thought. Under the bridge there at Philadelphia High School, smoked a couple of puffs. Well, this is asinine. This is like saying, hey, I think I'll take a broken bottle and jam it in my foot. Why would I do that? So I never smoked, other than that other than trying that. And yet I got lung cancer a long time ago. Now, I believe it's secondhand smoke. My dad, God rest his soul, was one of those chain smokers that we remember from the 50s and 60s, Biff. I mean, the ashtrays were always overflowing, and there was a lot of secondhand smoke in the house, but you can get it. You can get lung cancer without smoking, but oftentimes it's secondhand smoke. Anyway, we are among the worst states for new lung cancer cases. We are the worst state for smoking. If you need help, the American Lung Association has a number of different ways to help you stop smoking. Again, I know that some folks have used hypnosis in the past that I've known. I never felt that really worked for the people I knew. But this is the Great American Smokeout, so be sure to give it up if you possibly can. And if you've given up smoking and have a story to tell about that, feel free to text me, 304-214-1600. Did you just go cold turkey, or did you have some kind of assistance? Did you join a support group? I mean, how did you give up smoking? And seriously, do you feel better now that you've given up smoking? Biff, do you remember what the world smelled like before we had anti-smoking laws?
Yeah, all you had to do was go Christmas Eve to my grandfather's house when he was still alive, and you walked in and there'd be a cloud of smoke because of everybody that was at the table smoking.
Yeah, I worked in journalism all my life, and journalists are famous for smoking. And there was, until we really began to crack down on things, there was no smoke-free workplace. You just went into work and you went into a cloud of smoke. I was working at Channel 7 when they imposed the no smoking ban. You would have thought that they were taking people's wallets, Biff. What, you're going to tell me I can't smoke in here? Well, yes. Yes, we are. People were going to quit, you know. We came up, I was in management at the time. We came up with, you know, smoking cessation programs. We'll help you out. We'll give you programs. All we got was anger. No, you can't, man. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to smoke. And we said, well, you know, in Channel 7, you can smoke in the garage. That's the only thing. Get out of the garage. I'm going to smoke in the garage. I'm going to smoke right here while I'm writing my stories. Can't do it. Now, of course, it's all, now that it's over with, now that we've gone through all of those years of getting smoking out, you know, it's not nearly as bad. All right, so celebrating the Great American Smokeout today. 9:21, 21 after the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. We have been talking about Wheeling's Christmas Parade, the Fantasy and Lights Parade, which is coming up tomorrow night. And there are a couple of concerns I have about it, but it's always fun. Bill Bryson is the parade chairman. Bill is with us here this morning. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Howard.
So everything ready for tomorrow night? Let me ask that question first.
Yeah, I think it is. I think we're ready.
Are the streets going to be ready, Bill?
The one thing the city did, they promised that they would do it, and they did it yesterday. They went and patched probably 100 spots up Market down Main with that, you know, I think they call it cold patch or whatever. But that was a concern, and like I said, we kind of watched them as they went by here and then kind of drove around afterwards, and a lot of those divots and stuff like that have been patched over. So that should be a big help. We also have West Liberty University baseball team. We're going to have them stationed around. So if we'll once the rain stops, we'll take another look and see, is there anything else here that's not even? And maybe we could at least say, hey, look, watch here, Mr. Band Director, watch here, and just try to point something out. But the city did the big thing yesterday with about 100 patches up and down Market and Main. So who knows? You know, it's not the most ideal situation. That's an understatement. But we've done just about everything we can possibly do. Patch the bad spots. Watch for anything that we think could still present a problem.
Was there ever consideration maybe to using Chaplin Street instead of Main Street?
You still got to come. Yeah, I mean, I actually said that one time at a meeting. You still got to come up one of those two streets. Then you still got to cut over on 10th Street or 11th Street. It doesn't solve the problem, and probably creates a few more problems that we hadn't considered. Keeps you off at 10th Street, which is always a concern, but it's hard to find two streets in Wheeling that are perfectly paved. Down around the city building is a little spot down there that's pretty good, but man, there's just unfortunately there's just not a mile stretch anywhere that we can use for the parade.
You know, having said that out loud, I just realized, and this week the city is actually tearing up the pavement in front of the city building. They're putting some water lines in there, so that stretch of Chaplin's actually not a bad street, but that section of Chaplin is already torn up. So, yeah. Well, good luck on that route, Bill. I hope that there are no problems. It's not ideal, but
yeah, that's the way we're looking at it too. You know, if we try to pull this off and think we can do it safely, then we're gonna try. And like I said, I was really thankful for the city doing that patching jobs yesterday. So that'll eliminate a lot of problems, but not all of them for sure.
Now, tell me about the problem with the bands and playing music on TV.
All right, I will explain it as I understand it. Okay, this is not this is what I understand. There are 3 BMI, ASCAP, and somebody else that are licensing
CSAC
fees. Okay, so if Howard wants to play music on your radio station, your station has purchased an agreement with one of these 3, or maybe all 3 of them, to use music. It's covered. Churches have that. I post it in our church every week. It's all the music here is under this particular license. Okay, and everybody understands that. And then if you are a band or a dance group, you also buy the license. So now they're double dipping already. So now they've collected money off the band, they've collected money off of your radio station. So we're saying, oh, what's the problem? Well, apparently the suits that are corporate to Channel 9 are telling them that there's another problem because you are streaming this. And of course, my first question was turn off the streaming. But I don't know, maybe that can't do that. I don't know. Anyway, they're saying, well, if it's on the internet, then nobody's paying those fees. Well, that's not my problem. But they're saying we can't do that because if somebody objects to, hey, you used my music without permission because you streamed it. Yeah, we collected because it was from the band, and we collected because it was the TV station, but we didn't collect because it was on streaming. So they're telling Channel 9 you can't run any music that would put us in jeopardy. So that's been their position for the last 6 months or so. Thinking we could, okay, how do we get around this? Well, the one option we thought was, what if it is from the public domain? Everybody.
Domain, exactly.
Okay. Well, we had gone along with that for a while, but then they came back and said, okay. And a perfect example is we have two events, one at 7, one at 9. It's about a 10-minute. One's Young Patriots are going to be on Channel 7 for the first 10 minutes of the parade, and the Ogilvy Institute Nutcracker on Channel 9 for the first 10 minutes. So we said, okay, it's Tchaikovsky. It's public domain. We shouldn't have a problem. Well, they do have a problem. They said, well, it was recorded in 1986 by the London Orchestra. That's the music you're using. Therefore, that music is the London Orchestra. So although you are covered on paying the fees on ASCAP and all that from the probably Ogilvy Institute and from the TV station, but you haven't covered the portion that could be streaming. So now they're saying, well, you can't even do public domain because somebody recorded public domain, and unless we have their permission, we can't even do that. So obviously we were just tearing our hair out here trying to figure out what to do. And the bottom line came down, and we had to tell the folks at the 2 meetings this week that there's a 50-yard piece in the parade that you can't play any music. And they were asking about, what about drum cadence? And they said, if your drummer did the drum cadence, great, you can play that. So, but Channel 7, they've cleared it, and they seem to be okay. So I don't know. I think the first thing I would do is if I'm 9 or the corporate for 9, is I'd get ASCAP on the line and say, hey, figure this out. I mean, either you cover the streaming, or why are we paying you? I mean, all we're getting is like 5 levels down, and this is what we can't do. So we're stuck. I mean, Channel 9 is not going to do any music when the people go by them. So they're out in no man's land. So that's the way I understand it, and I am not 100% sure that that's correct, but that is the way we are proceeding.
First of all, just a comment. What's a parade without music? I mean, I don't even know what the value. Well.
Granted, would we be better off just run the parade with no rules at all and just, hey, don't cover it? I mean, that's an option.
I mean, that to me is. But listen, this is something I actually am relatively familiar with. I mean, I have a negotiated licensing contract, ASCAP, CSAC, BMI. There's something else called RMLC, which I think is actually the streaming part of it. I can't remember if the ASCAP CSAC contracts have streaming built into them or if you do a separate contract. But here's where I'm confused. Channel 9 has to have a streaming contract. I mean, for their own stuff. I mean, forget the Christmas parade. Sure, they're paying licensing fees for whatever other music they use during their broadcast day. I don't understand why the crackdown on the Christmas parade, because I would think it has to be, the licensing has to be there anyways. I guess when you call them suits, I guess when high corporate suits get involved, they get nervous. But This seems to me to be.
Yeah, I
This
didn't.
is my opinion. You don't have to concur, Bill, but it's ridiculous to me.
Us too. I mean, we were just, yes, I agree. I agree. What we've never done is ask that question. What do you do with your main news and all that kind of stuff that's streaming, and there's music that comes through on that? How are you covering that? Don't know the answer to that. That question has not come up.
In that argument about the public domain, somebody once again, I'm not an attorney. I want to quickly say that, so maybe, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Plus, I have to be honest with you. What I found over the years in talking to people from these music licensing agencies was they were pretty understanding. You would say, you know, this is just something a little bit different, special, community kind of thing, and they go, okay, yeah, we get that. That's all right. Now, sometimes I used to swear at those guys, don't get me wrong. So
that tradition,
music licensing companies can be hard.
That tradition has continued this year, though.
So there will be a stretch of the parade route where simply no music will be played, period. Is that right?
Yeah, that is the stretch, the 50 yards or so, right in front of Channel 9. Yes, correct.
All right, but the bands will still play for Channel 7. They will do their usual stop and play a song and whatever for Channel 7 at least. Yes, no.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. And anywhere else on the route,
Well,
it's just that 50 yards. That I don't know. I wish I had a better understanding of it. That reasoning has been passed down to us in at meetings and individually, and when we raise, what about this? How about this? What if this? Like I said, even we had the public domain. We said, hey, if it's a public domain song, you're good. And now they're coming back saying, well, you can't do that because somebody actually recorded that. I mean, there's got to be somebody at a corporate level someplace that's just, I don't know. So we're not dealing with this and just wiped it all off. So, I don't know. This does not seem right to me.
It doesn't seem right to me. And again, I have some knowledge of this, and it seems like they're not. It seems like they could work this out if they chose to. And I'm not necessarily blaming the local folks. It sounds to me like it's coming from Sinclair way up the chain someplace. But I don't know. I guess here's my recommendation: watch Channel 7. That's my recommendation.
It's just been extremely frustrating for us. We did not go. Usually I have a band or two from outside the area. And to be honest, I was embarrassed to ask them, and we didn't. Slippery Rock University and one of the Washington schools from 2020 said, "Hey, sorry, the parade got canceled last year. We'll try again 21." Well, I don't want them coming in and dealing with all this stuff and be embarrassed about it. So we didn't go back after that. So
being told they can't play music.
Yeah, so we're not gonna do that.
Have any of the bands pulled out because of this?
Yes. Yeah, we have about. I think there's 79 entries this year, Howard. Now, there's a lot. It's not just that. It's COVID. It's we don't have enough help or driver for the buses or whatever. I mean, everybody's got a reason, but some of them are, hey, we're not going to deal with this, and we're not coming. And some of them, the street's is not a plus this year. Obviously, that was involved in at least one situation that I know of. And then the other stuff, just the COVID and the help and all that kind of stuff. Together, though, it represents about a 20-unit decline.
Wow. All right, well, let's talk about the positive thing. You got 3 grand marshals this year, right?
We got 3 grand marshals, and they're wonderful grand marshals. First of all, it's tickled to death that Kathy Brown and Reverend Cummings are our grand marshals this year. Those two have done so much for the Valley. Kathy at Health Right and all the services that they provide to those who maybe are underserved. Reverend Cummings, I did a little bit of research on him yesterday. Last year was his 40th anniversary. He's a Bethlehem Apostolic Temple. And the first 10 years, he was in Ashtabula and started a church there. And then for the last 32 years, he's been here. And boy, the good that he and that organization have done, again, a lot of it is for the underserved. Our hats are off to them. I'm almost embarrassed that it's taken us this long to get both of those as grand marshals, but both really deserving. And we're really happy that we can kind of tip our hats to those two this year as Grand Marshals. And then the third one is Eric Estrada.
They really represent the best of the community.
They really do, and they really do. And like I said, I'm just tickled to death that we finally said, hey, here are two people in the Valley that are really done great work for their fellow man. So, and then the third one is...
And then just to add a little glitz and glamour to it, you got Eric Estrada, too.
Eric Estrada, Ponch from the old Chips TV series. Yeah, that was... We kind of reached out to them because we've done some travel work for the Chris August brothers and a couple of their events that they've done here. We said, hey, maybe it would line up for the parade, and well, it almost did, but Ponch is coming back. In fact, she's coming back in today, and then he'll be here for a couple of days, and he will be right up front. I think we're going to be one of the first float in the parade. So if you're looking for Ponch, he will be right up front, right behind all the police and all that entries. So Ponch will be up front, and then the other two Grand Marshals will be in the back, further back in the parade.
Eric Estrada was a great interview last week. We talked about all kinds of things, old-time television and his career and the people he knew and so on. When the time came, I said, I've kept you longer than I thought I would, and we're really short on time. He goes, I got more time. I got nowhere to go. You want to talk some more?
He's really outgoing that way. He said, hey, is there anybody I need to meet with while I'm here? I'd be happy to, do that. And we didn't set that up. And now the problem is it's almost too late to do something big. But he's been very gracious with his time, for sure.
Well, good luck with the parade tomorrow night, Bill. You've got some obstacles that are in the way I wish you didn't have. I'm still concerned about the streets, I'll be honest with you. This music business makes no sense to me whatsoever. But nonetheless, it's Christmas in the Ohio Valley, so let's have a parade, right?
Let's have a parade. This is our 35th annual Fantasy and Lights Parade.
I ask you every year, Bill, aren't you about ready to say, let somebody else do this?
After this year, you might not have to ask twice. All right, Howard. All right. Hey, thank you very much.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you calling in. Thanks a lot, Bill.
Okay, Howard. Thanks.
And I appreciate your bringing us up to speed on this stuff.
Okay.
Have a good parade tomorrow night.
Yeah, okay,
I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, thanks a lot. Bill Bryson, who is the parade chairman there. So there we got the answers we were looking for, Biff. You get the sense he's not totally sure about this parade route either, but it is what you have to look at. Right? So.
Just what a mess. I mean, and again, it sounded like if they actually wanted to sit down and work this thing out, I think they could, but I think they're choosing to take the easy way out and not do it. Not build the other companies that are, whoever they got their agreements from.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I have some knowledge of all this stuff. I've negotiated these contracts before, and I think they could have. I'm not sure they don't even have. Well, never mind. I don't want to criticize anybody for what I'm not sure about, but this didn't have to happen. This did not have to happen.
No, and I'm
not sure why. I'm not sure why Channel 9's even bothering it. If you can't play the music, I mean, what? Yes, of course, it's fun to see. I don't know who else there. Clowns or characters in the Grand Marshal and fire trucks or whatever. But what's the parade? What's a parade really about, Biff?
Music.
It's the music. Yeah, and the bands.
Well, if people want to see clowns, they could come here. I mean, we've got them here.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Most days from noon to 3, and certainly on Fridays from noon to 1.
I'm not mentioning any times or anything.
I'm just saying. That's a great point. All right, let's get a news update in here. And check some headlines from Metro News. And Bill DeFabio's got morning sports for us. And then we'll talk about a few other odds and ends. And Bob Westphal will hopefully join us for a look at some of the stories making news around the Ohio Valley in the newsroom at WTRF TV. It's 9:40, 20 before the hour on the Watchdog Morning Show.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Team, once it found out and discovered about 372 potential patients may have received the treatments from Yates. The VA says it has no way to tell if Yates did everything he was supposed to do when administering the treatments, so the agency is contacting the patients, urging them to get a blood test. The VA says the chances of having a bloodborne disease from the treatments is very small. I'm Jeff Jenkins, WVMetroNews.com.
West Virginia is continuing to hold virtual public hearings over the next month on the state's substance use response plan. The next meeting gets started this hour. The hearing takes place after the CDC announced new data Wednesday showing overdose deaths have spiked by nearly 63% in West Virginia, the second highest in the nation. Governor Jim Justice says more West Virginians need to get their COVID-19 booster shots.
You know, I would say if you're breathing, you can get your booster shot. And I would highly encourage you to go do so.
Messages have been sent out to residents who have been fully vaccinated. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Today is the Great American Smokeout, sponsored by the American Cancer Society. Spokesperson Christy Young says it's an event to try and help people kick the habit.
You know, this is a day that's designated for folks who are thinking about quitting to go ahead and use the Great American Smokeout to quit. So that's a really great way for them to start, or at least to make a plan to quit.
The American Lung Association this week found West Virginia to be almost the worst state in America for smoking. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Carrie Hudasek.
Well, the struggling Penguins are back in action tonight when they visit the Montreal Canadiens. Both of these teams are struggling. The Penguins at 5-6-4 have lost 3 games in a row. And how about the Canadiens? 4-12-2. Like the Penguins, Montreal has lost 3 games in a row. Thursday night football, the 6-4 New England Patriots will visit the 4-5 inconsistent Atlanta Falcons. By the way, the Pats have won 4 games in a row. And this game tonight will feature one of the highest paid coaches in all of sports. It's Bill Belichick. He'll earn $18 million this year. Mike Tomlin, if you're wondering how much he earns this season, $8 million. He's preparing his team for Sunday night's clash in L.A. against the Chargers. Tomlin's biggest concern is Charger quarterback Justin Herbert.
You see some things that you knew in draft preparation when he came out, the arm talent, the strength, the pinpoint accuracy, the ability to change his trajectory and drop the ball over linebackers into the dig area and so forth. You see the fluid mobility and easy mobility that he displayed at Oregon.
Steelers enter Sunday's contest 5-3-1. The Chargers are 5-4. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
Toyota's full lineup of four-wheel and all-wheel drive vehicles combine our legendary reliability with the safety and handling necessary to take on any terrain, element, or adventure that comes your way. And with 12 available models, including Camry, Venza, and the all-new Corolla Cross, there's a style for everyone. Visit
Teddy, what are you doing, buddy? Hey, little buddy. How was your zoo?
Good, and I'm gonna taste that.
What is it? Oh, let's see some pudding. I love pudding. I love pudding. Where did you go? I can't find you.
Throughout the state. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
My son is not some statistic.
My daughter's not a headline. My girl, she's not someone's agenda.
What she
is
irreplaceable. COVID hospitalizations of young people have tripled
since the start of summer.
So I talked to my daughter's doctor about COVID vaccines.
And she said they're highly effective in preventing hospitalizations and deaths, even from the Delta variant.
We can do this. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gellner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gellnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
The Highlands Event Center is the area's premier destination for conferences, workshops, employment fairs, weddings, and more. With 4,000 square feet of space, the Highland Event Center can accommodate events large and small. Situated in the heart of the Highlands, guests can enjoy the many restaurants, retail stores, entertainment, and lodging options. To check out everything the Highlands Event Center has to offer, head to thehighlandseventcenter.com or call 833-639-7070.
You want sports talk? We got the goods all night long. Tune into Sports Map Radio. Evenings and overnights on FM 98.1, AM 1600. We are the Watchdog. Follow us on Facebook for the latest news, show updates, podcasts, alerts, and live video streams from the Valley's only network dedicated to local, community-driven talk radio, The Watchdog.
Live and local for the Ohio Valley, the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Oh, what did you have there? Oh, my Lord. Oh, my goodness.
What?
You're eating your pudding?
Yeah, is mine really on that side and I'm on this
There you go. Well, here you go. See, you're on this side now.
side? On this side.
Yeah, isn't that kind of weird?
Yeah, when I point at you, it's on this side.
I know.
And this is weird.
This is weird. How's your pudding? Is it good? All right, buddy. You can close that door on your way out, please. All right, little visit there, Biff. He's
Little
having
breakfast?
some pudding this morning. Yeah, well, it's pudding. He's having pudding. Hey, Teddy, is there any sausage, gravy, and biscuits out there by any chance? You don't know? Okay, maybe check on
Jeez.
maybe.
Oh.
Maybe not. Did you make any visits any place? Oh, I got a 63-cent Egg McMuffin? Okay. All right.
Oh, there
Thank
you go.
honey. There you go. So, by the way, we did learn you can only order one off the app. Just one. You can't order 10 or 100 or just one.
Just one.
Today's the 63-cent day. Man, the temperature's dropping. I know I've said this every hour. The high today is 62, but that was like at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was 59 when we started all across the board. We've been dropping. It is currently 44 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport with a feels-like temperature of 42. It's 43 degrees here at my home studios with a feels-like temperature of 36. 43 downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley as well at the Robinson Auto Group Studios. Geez, that if you look at the 7-day forecast in the Big 7 and it says 62, be aware that that's long gone. It's actually feeling like 36 degrees here at the home studio. It's raining and it's windy outside right now, and it is going to be windy and raining right now. I'm reading a text that I just can't share on the air. Yeah, can't read that one on the air, so just leave that be. Bob Westphal coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll talk about what's going on at the Big Seven. Hoppy's coming in with the statewide talk line at 10:06. What do we got tonight, Biff? Tonight is Thursday, so it's the Neil Brown Coaches Show. Yet more Neil Brown, right?
Yes, and excuse me. Yes, we have the Neil Brown Coaches Show from 6 to 8, which will lead into West Virginia basketball. Their pregame at 8 o'clock. They are actually in South Carolina. It is the Shriners Classic, I think, is what it's called in South Carolina. So they're playing Elon at 9 o'clock. It's scheduled for 9, but I think they're the second game of the evening, so it might be a little after 9 by the time tip-off. But, yeah, the pregame will be immediately following the Neil Brown Coaches Show. And then tonight also is the Ryan Day Coaches Show.
All right, so a lot of programming for you tonight in the sports world. Neil Brown Coaches Show, Ryan Day Coaches Show, and basketball. This has got to be the busiest time of the year we've got. We have WVU basketball, Ohio State, and WVU football. We've got high school playoffs are coming down the road. What do we have this weekend for the playoffs, Biffy?
We have on Saturday, we have 2 games. At 1:30, it'll be Gilmer County, who upset Cameron last week, 19-14. They will be taking on Wheeling Central. That game will be at Wheeling Island Stadium at 1:30. And again, because of West Virginia, we'll have to put the Gilmer County Wheeling Central game on our high school stream. So go to our website, watchdognetwork.com. You'll see the WKKX, WVLY, and then the third one is the high school stream. Click the high school stream. You'll be able to listen to Gilmer County and Wheeling Central that way. So that's Saturday afternoon. And then Saturday evening at 7 o'clock is the Division 7, Region 7, Division 7, Region 27 championship game. That's Newark Catholic and Shadyside. That game being played at New Philadelphia, Woody Hayes Quaker Stadium. That game is at 7 o'clock, and the winner of that game will go next week to the state semifinals, and they have already got the region who they will meet. So the winner of Region 27 will meet the winner of Region 25, which my best guess would probably be JFK. So the winner of Newark Shadyside will get the winner of Region 25. And then the other game to pay attention to on Saturday for Central, Mount View is at Ritchie County. The winner of Gilmer County Wheeling Central, hopefully it's Wheeling Central, will either have to travel to Mount View or Ritchie County. If it's Mount View, you're looking at about a 5-hour bus ride. If it's Ritchie County, it's a 2-hour bus ride. So that'll be the other game to pay attention to Saturday afternoon.
So at stake is a 3-hour difference bus ride.
Pretty much, yes. But it'll definitely be on the road. So we don't.
It'll be a fairly distant game.
If it's Mount View, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
All right. So we got a lot. Just got a lot of stuff coming up. Of course, tomorrow the regular programming with Bill DeFabio's Fall Football Friday, the Quaker State and Lube Friday afternoon walkthrough, beginning at 3 o'clock. So we got all that coming up for you. Tomorrow, busy weekend. Football, basketball, Ohio State, WVU, playoff action. You know who's looking forward, Biffy, so much to Super 6?
Fred Persinger.
You're right. I talked to Freddie yesterday. This guy, we all know how Fred loves high school football. He is just so excited. He goes, after last year, buddy, I could hardly wait to get into there and have the Super 6. I'm so excited. He was just so excited. He was just so happy to have the Super 6 back. So he could hardly stop talking about it yesterday when we got together. Let's talk to Bob Westfall. He's over at the Big 7, WTRF TV, see what they're working on this morning. Good morning, Bob.
Morning, Howard. How are you?
Good. Had a fire this morning, I guess, up in Mingo, huh?
Yes, they did. Steve Ruffing was up there all morning. Apparently, it is a total loss. I believe it was on Lincoln Avenue. Actually, he just walked back into the building right now, so we'll have some more details on that at noon. But yeah, the house has been ruled a total loss. I'm taking a look at the story right now. Nobody was injured.
No injuries, right?
Yeah, but we do have 2 cats that died in the fire. But it did happen on Lincoln Avenue. So anyway, yeah, Steve just literally walked back in the door. I just saw him walk back in, so we'll have that update at noon today. So yeah, tragic start to a Thursday. So we've got that update. We're going to get that. A couple other things working on today. Group out of Jefferson County, the Jefferson County Prevention and Recovery Board received an Appalachian Regional grant, I think for almost $500,000. It's to help them to create entry-level jobs for truck drivers. And we've been talking about the shortage of truck drivers for months now, things like that. So we're going to talk to, I think it's Bill Hold up there, and he's going to explain what their program is and how important getting this ARC grant money is to them to get this job done. So another good thing happening in the Valley today, trying to get some more jobs into the area. So I'm kind of interested to hear what we've got to say about that. On the other side of the coin, though, we're also going to hopefully talk to him about 100,000 overdose deaths in 1 year. Yeah. I saw the story yesterday. I'm sure you did as well. The CDC's reported just over 100,000 deaths in a year. Fentanyl now leading the way. So we're going to talk to him about what he's seeing out in the community. Also going to talk to Senators Capito and Brown and what they're trying to do in D.C. to try and fight this. I know Senator Brown has put forth some legislation to help law enforcement in situations with monitoring devices and things like that. So if they do come in contact with this kind of stuff, they can protect themselves. Also, some rehab and things like that they've talked about. So interested to see what they've got to say. I know Capito's been on the forefront of this, especially with the opioid epidemic. So working on that today. A couple other things we're working on. Of course, we're going to find out about the big Christmas parades tomorrow. Traffic's going to be rerouted a little bit, so we're going to talk to Wheeling PD about what's going on with that. Of course, weather. Got up, it was 61 degrees out. Beautiful day. And I'm going to go home. It's going to be like in the low 40s. So
it's 43 here. It's 43 at my home studio with a feels like right now of 36.
Yeah. I got up at 6 a.m. this morning. It was 61 degrees. So go figure. So Aaron's tracking that. Of course, rain for most of the morning. So Aaron's got that. Zach will take over when he comes in this afternoon. Scotty and Chip will have the latest in sports. Next round of high school playoffs are gearing up. I think we've got like 3 teams left here in the Northern Panhandle, Eastern Ohio. So we'll have that, and then the big Steelers game coming up. Will or won't Ben play?
Yeah. So a lot going on today, and you'll cover it all at noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30 statewide show. Always on the award-winning WTRF.com app on your Facebook page, and of course, most importantly, just take your app with you. In your pocket, carry Channel 7 News and Channel 7 Weather with you with the Storm Tracker 7 and the News app. Bob, I got to run. Thanks for joining us. I'll talk to you tomorrow to wrap up the week.
All right, guys. Have a good Thursday.
All right, you too. Biffy, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock on the go-around of the big gig. Are you back with me?
I am here to close out the week.
We'll keep on doing it until we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
2 people in the summer of 2020.
All right, Biffy, we made it through. With given that we had nothing but us to work with, we didn't do too bad at all. Bill, I'm glad Bill called. That was very helpful. Well, I thought I knew the story, but I would rather hear it from him. I'd rather have him confirm what I had said earlier, so that way I feel better about it. All right, as far as I know, McCabe tomorrow, and I don't know what else. Maybe nothing. Who knows? Kind of like this having nothing to do, we'll just talk thing. That works pretty well, actually. So, yeah. Usually it's pretty, this holiday, there's not a lot of news during the holidays anyways, and there's always, prep services give me enough holiday stuff to, we can always find some things to talk about. Come January, God help us, I don't know what we'll do, but. Well, election year's coming up, we'll be doing a lot of election stuff and legislative stuff and so on, I guess, after that. So it looks like you and I are working on Christmas Eve. But, it's okay with me. I'm fine with that. We'll be done at 10 and we can go home. Well, I'll be home and you can go home, so. At least we got Monday off. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, again, I didn't remember that, but apparently that was traditionally a day off, so. And it won't be a high listener day either, because people, again, they're getting ready for Christmas. They're not really radio tuned, but yeah. Well, we'll make it work. Unless things change, who knows? We have a month before Christmas. You never know. All right. Any problems? Anything else I need to know about? Oh. Okay. All right. Well, tell him if he needs me, call me, or you guys figure out what's going on. You can tell, the problems because you and I talked about them yesterday. From Bridget or from yeah, the left channel is the one I couldn't hear. When I had to put stereo headphones in, I could hear myself in the right channel, but I couldn't hear myself in the left channel. Right. And then, tell him about that. The best thing may be just to pull the T1 line. To pull the connection, because we're getting so many T1 alerts. But, you talk to him about it. You know what the problems are. You get the Audio Sentinel alerts as much as I do. So you can, you guys can work on it. Okay, very good. Then I'll let you go deal with Joe and tell him to call me, or you can call me if anybody needs me. I'll be here with Teddy. All right. Thanks for your help. Appreciate it. Talk to you later. All right, bye.
For the right to repair movement, with pressure on Apple and other corporations to make it easier for Americans to repair broken devices. Apple says it's starting the program with the iPhone 12 and iPhone 13 models, and that it will eventually expand to certain Mac computers. Lionel Moyes, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
Dell Technologies' biggest business sale of the year has arrived. Step up your vision with top tech up to 50% off during their Black Friday event. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Plus, get incredible savings on Windows 11 PCs, along with servers, monitors, and docks, all with free shipping. There's also special financing with Dell Business Credit. Get started by contacting your Dell Technologies advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Sherry Preston, ABC News.
The Variety Show with Bill DeFabio is live on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We talk to some of the region's best business owners while keeping you informed about area events and happenings. You won't believe who I have on next. Tune in and get with the program. Guests from preachers to pros and even some Super Bowl champions. Join me, Bill DeFabio, from noon to 2 for the variety show on The Watchdog.
Hello, everyone, from The Watchdog. I'm the storm tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly cloudy with showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. A daytime high near 56. The overnight low of 30 degrees. Under mostly cloudy skies, clouds, sunshine in store for your Friday, with highs in the low 50s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From The Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Good morning. Welcome to Talkline on the Metro News Radio Network.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
Holy smoke. From the studios of the West Virginia Radio Corporation and the Metro News Radio Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful radio show in West Virginia. This is Metro News Talk Live with Hoppy Kercheval.
Check set lineup link. Activated Telos telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Q Hoppy. You're on.
Metro News Talk Line with Hoppy Kercheval is brought to you by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
And we're broadcasting from the Encova Insurance Studios. Good morning. Daniel Woods is our producer. Taylor Kennedy with a video stream. You can watch at WVMetroNews.com. The phone number is 1-800-765-8255. 1-800-765-TALK. Email me, talkline at WVMetroNews.com. Text me, 304-TALK-304. Busy show. Let's start here. Let me go back to March 2017, when a House subcommittee in Washington, held a hearing on the drug problem in America. The hearing focused on what the committee members identified as the next wave in the opioid crisis, and they talked about fentanyl. Later that year, the DEA issued an intelligence report identifying drug abuse and trafficking, especially opioids, as a critical threat to West Virginia. The report said the state had the highest rate of overdose deaths in the country in 2015, approximately 42 for every 100,000 people. Tragically, the situation has gotten worse, much worse, here and across the country, and particularly worse in West Virginia. Lenny Bernstein's a health reporter for the Washington Post. He's been covering this story for some time. He's familiar with it, not only in the country, but also in West Virginia, and he's reporting on it today in the Washington Post. Lenny, it's good to talk to you again. How are you?
I'm great, Hoppy. Thanks for having me back.
Thanks for coming on. These new numbers, preliminary numbers for the country, are terrible, as you all actually had that in your lead. These tragic numbers, what are they?
You have 100,000 plus drug overdose deaths in a 12-month period for the very first time. These are provisional numbers, but they won't change much. From April to April 2020 to April 2021, 100,000 people died, 275 a day. That really shows you that the pandemic has had a major impact on this, along, of course, with the continued growth in the distribution of fentanyl.
Lenny, you're familiar with West Virginia. You've covered the opioid crisis in West Virginia. Where does West Virginia fit into all this?
Well, unfortunately, you guys had some of the worst numbers. If I remember correctly, it may be the worst numbers of all the states. That is a pattern in West Virginia, way back to the pill mill days, as you guys probably recall. Many of the beginnings, if I could say, of this problem occurred in West Virginia when people started selling pharmaceutical opioids to coal mine workers, other people in pain, and it kind of mushroomed from there.
Yeah, and then I'm going to get into that and ask you more about the increasing lack of a better term, popularity of fentanyl. But Lenny Bernstein's with us, health reporter for the Washington Post, his report in the Post about these tragic numbers, increasing overdose deaths in this country. In West Virginia, specifically, our rate has gone from 42 deaths per 100,000 people to 90 per 100,000 people, twice what it was 6 years ago. That is now the highest in the nation. Lenny, you cited the stat. Nationally, 275 people die each day from drug overdoses. In West Virginia, it's 4 a day. And in a small state, that's a pretty big number. We're up to, and for that 12-month period, over 1,600 West Virginians dying from drug overdoses, and fentanyl playing an increasing role in this. What can you tell us about that?
Well, fentanyl is many, many times more powerful than morphine. It comes into this country in tiny amounts. The chemicals are made in China. They are shipped to Mexico. Where they're turned into fentanyl. Remember how unsuccessful we were at stopping huge shipments of cocaine or heroin. Well, now you have fentanyl coming into this country in teeny tiny little packages because all it takes is a few grains of it to get high. So it's a very difficult thing to control on the supply side. And then on the demand side, first people were taking it instead of heroin. We went from pills to heroin to fentanyl. Now, what the cartels do is they lace it into other drugs or even into counterfeit pills. So you may be a user of cocaine or methamphetamine or think you're taking a legitimate opioid, and then you are unknowingly ingesting fentanyl, and people are now dying that way.
So is it, as you said, so is it that, and this is maybe a peculiar question, and maybe you don't know, and I'm going to ask some people later in the program, is this a situation where people who have substance abuse disorders, they don't know they're getting fentanyl, they don't know what the dosage is, they think they're getting cocaine or oxy or heroin, and fentanyl is in there, or there are people who are addicted and searching for an even bigger kick, and they want some element of fentanyl. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, unfortunately, Hoppy, the answer is both. There are people who are seeking out fentanyl. It is a more powerful high, although you have to be extremely careful with it because tiny little amounts will kill you. And there are people who are getting it without realizing it's in their drugs. For people with substance use disorders who say, well, I take other things. I avoid fentanyl. I don't seek it out. But the cartels are lacing it into other drugs, and it is killing people in this country.
Lenny Bernstein is with us, health reporter for the Washington Post. He's been covering this story for some time now, and the new numbers are out, and they're worse than ever? Worse than ever, Lenny?
Worse than ever.
What are we doing about it? I mean, I know firsthand that in West Virginia, there are good and decent people, whether it's in law enforcement, whether it's in treatment, whether it's in first responders, whether it's family or friends, who are trying all that they know to deal with this, and yet it's getting worse. So what can you speak to that? What's happening across the country? What is being done? What's working? What's not working? How much attention is being focused on this? Is this number that you all are reporting on, is this going to shock everybody to some additional action?
You know, I meet those same people all over this country. There are so many people working on this, and yet the numbers just continue to go up, and not by tiny amounts. You know, the rise that we reported on yesterday is 28.5% more than the same period a year ago. So what are we doing? Well, you know, it's gotten to the point where the Biden administration is adopting more of a harm reduction posture. And what harm reduction means is that you're just trying to keep people alive. You're just trying to keep people from harming themselves because the situation is so bad that's where we are right now. And yes, you're trying to direct them into treatment. You're supporting them in their recoveries. But we first have to keep them alive. When 100,000 people are dying in a year, you have to adopt a posture like that. So what are they doing? They're trying to distribute more naloxone, the opioid antidote, around the country. They're now paying for fentanyl test strips. So if you order a bag of heroin, you can put a strip in there and see if there's also fentanyl buried in there. But just think about what that says about how far the crisis has gotten. We're just trying to keep people alive so we can then help them.
Yeah, that is a stunning development in this, and it's controversial as well, because whenever we talk about this, people are going to say, now you're just helping the drug addicts here. But as you say, it's gotten to the point where you're just trying to keep people alive, and this stuff is hard to trace. It's hard to track. It comes in small amounts from other countries. It's different than like big bales of marijuana or big kilos of cocaine. It's and in the drug war, like other wars, Lenny, it's like we're always fighting the last war. It feels like it.
Yeah. That's true. Think about trying to keep, these tiny little envelopes that people order on the internet, trying to keep them out of the country with the volume of stuff that comes into this country, every day. It's not possible. And also, Hoppy, I just want to point out the addictive quality here. This is an extremely addictive drug. Most people who have SUDs and then get off it will relapse. People relapse numerous times. And so you have to stick with it. It's not a simple problem. Treatment with buprenorphine and methadone, it works, but it's a long-term problem for each individual. It's an investment in each individual, and it's largely a matter of their brain chemistry. You are trying to fight back against an incredibly addictive substance and an incredibly difficult situation to handle with each person.
Lenny Bernstein, a veteran health reporter for the Washington Post. He's been covering this story for some time, and he has a new story in the Washington Post about a tragic new milestone in overdose deaths in this country, and frankly in West Virginia as well. Lenny, we always talk under these difficult circumstances, but we appreciate your insights, and it's good to speak with you again. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take good care. Talk Line continues from the Encova Insurance Studios.
Do you or a loved one live in a nursing home or other long-term care facility and want to return home? You can with the Take Me Home Transition Program. The Take Me Home Transition Program provides services and supports that can help you make a safe and successful transition home. To see if you qualify, visit tmhwv.org or call 304-352-4239 and start planning your transition home today. Visit tmhwv.org for more information. This ad is supported by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services as part of a financial assistance award beginning in 2011 and totaling over $19 million, with 92.4% funded by CMS HHS and 7.6% funded by the state of West Virginia, totaling over $1.6 million. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views nor an endorsement by CMS, HHS, or the U.S. government.
This is Fred Persinger inviting you to join Dave Jekyll and me for the Road to the Super 6. This special one-hour program will air live from 7 to 8 p.m. and we'll look back on the games that were played the weekend before and talk about the matchups coming up the next weekend. The show promises to be a fact-filled roadmap for the playoff teams. So join us this Sunday evening from 7 until 8. Presented by CEC, Civil and Environmental Consultants, Big Firm Capabilities, Small Firm Culture.
Are you ready to play in a whole new way? Try the game that's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Keno Go. Step 1, go to a local retailer. Step 2, create a digital play slip with the lottery app or fill out a paper play slip. Step 3, watch the Keno Go drawing. Draws take place every 3 minutes. Watch at a retailer or watch on the go in the app. It's fast and fun with a chance to win up to $100,000. So start playing a whole new way today with the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly, at a distance.
This is Talk Line on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
This is Bill DeFabio, your host of the Variety Show with Bill DeFabio. Heard on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Join me from noon till 2 to talk sports, nostalgia, and hear from some of the legends of the game. You won't believe who I have on next. The Bill DeFabio Variety Show, heard on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tune in and get with the program. I'm Bill DeFabio. Join me for the Variety Show on the Watchdog.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together we will get through this.
Highland Sports Complex is the coolest destination for sports and entertainment the Ohio Valley has ever seen. Pop in for some open basketball in our field house or reserve some turf time for your next practice or game on our synthetic fields. Online registration is open for development classes and leagues for youth and adults. Highland Sports is also the hottest destination for birthday parties and other events. So come challenge yourself on our play climb and enjoy your favorite virtual reality game in the arcade. No memberships required, so visit highlandsports.com to find your next entertainment experience and get ready to reach new heights.
The Watchdog prides itself in being involved in our community, and we want to hear from you. Does your organization have an event that you would like promoted on the radio? Please send us the details via our website, watchdognetwork.com. Just click on our contact page and fill the information. Live, local, and here for our community. Share your events with the Watchdog.
Metro News Talk Line with Hoppy Kercheval is brought to you by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
I listened to a lot of, back at the Encova Insurance Studios, I listened to a lot of the debate yesterday on the House floor about whether or not there should be a reprimand for Arizona Republican Congressman Paul Gosar for his cartoon that threatened the life of AOC. I didn't, listening to it, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry at times, frankly, but let me bring in Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio. What was your reaction?
Well, I think, clearly the congressman didn't apologize and didn't really think that there was anything wrong. Now, he says that we took it down because people, didn't like it, but he said that his intent and his staff's intent was not to threaten anybody, that this was an anime-style cartoon to attract younger constituencies who like these kinds of cartoons and animation to send a signal about what's happening on the southern border. The depiction does show the congressman attacking both Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, killing her with a sword, and attacking President Biden. And that was the basis of the censure. This, as Democrats said, went beyond the pale of political discourse, violated House decorum rules, and they also expressed concern and dismay that Republican leadership hadn't done anything about this, and that enough time had passed now that it was time for them to move with or without Republican leadership. Now, Republican leadership did not really come to the defense of Paul Gosar, but what they are concerned about it and what their argument has been is that this is unprecedented for Democrats to kick Republicans off of committees. This is now the second time this year that this has happened. Committee makeup in the House of Representatives is really at the purview of that party's leadership. Republicans decide which Republicans are going to be on committees. Democrats decide which Democrats are going to be on committees. And in addition to this censure, which is the second highest form of punishment in the House, Gosar it has no real practical effect. What did have practical effect was what accompanied it, which was booting him off of the Oversight Committee and the Natural Resources Committee.
Didn't you also hear some Republicans say, you go ahead, but we're going to be in charge soon?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they've been warning, right, is that if the Democrats go down this path of kicking people off of committees when they're in the majority, then, look out, essentially, right, if the Republican. And listen, we've seen that play out in Congress. Look at the Senate and sort of the way that the filibuster has changed over the last decade or so, first with nominees, except for Supreme Court justices and then adding Supreme Court justices, and now talk about maybe carving out filibuster exceptions for some legislation, not all. That always happens in Congress. The bigger discussion that Democrats wanted to have yesterday was about, just the way that these types of Twitter statements are becoming norm.
Yeah.
And you heard that from Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, who said, it's been well documented that she has been on the receiving end of a lot of vile threats, and that there is worry that, after we've seen shootings of Republicans and Democrats in Congress over the last several years, that these types of messages, whether intentional or not, can foment real-world violence.
Well, I guess I wish for something that doesn't exist anymore, and that is some level of civility. Now you have more members.
I think that's a good point. We talk about censure, right? This was just the 24th time that a member of the House of Representatives was censured by colleagues, which is not a lot in the history of the United States House of Representatives, the first time in about 11 years that something like this has happened. And if you look back, some of them have been for ethics violations.
Right.
Most recently, Charlie Rangel.
Right.
In the late 1800s, there were 3 members censured for selling Service Academy appointments. But look back at a lot of them. They're about decorum. They're about, I think the word, the phrase that they used in the violation in the late 1800s was unparliamentary language.
Well, I get that. And it's as though...
Maybe that means something different in the world of social media.
Well, you know why? Because now there are members of Congress, rather than trying to be at a higher level, they want to be, and I'm going to say this is bipartisan. It's like they want to be internet influencers.
Yeah. No, listen. I think that there is a case to be made for that. That you have seen members of Congress who would otherwise be fairly anonymous.
Yeah.
Freshman members, what I guess we used to call backbenchers, generally to get a lot of attention on, at least historically, to get a lot of attention in the House of Representatives, you had to have some influence, some power. You had to be a committee chair. That takes a long time. Used to be really old people. And now, because of social media, because of the way fundraising works, sort of how every election is nationalized, that's not the case. We have seen both Republicans and Democrats arrive their first day with a bunch of fanfare.
Yeah.
And no, I think that's a valid point. Now, the difference that some Democrats tried to cast in this is that, members of Congress sometimes have personal social media accounts, and then they have congressional media accounts.
Right.
And congressional media accounts are technically part of their official resources. And so there are different rules that would apply to an official resource account versus an unofficial account.
But you know what? Right. But you know what happens, back to the original point, Jared, is that, Gosar does something outrageous and he's all over the news and he gets more Twitter followers. Marjorie Taylor Greene does something outrageous. She gets more Twitter followers. Ilhan Omar tweets something outrageous, some anti-Semitic outburst. She gets more Twitter followers. It's counterintuitive, and that's the way it works.
Yeah, listen, I started covering Congress in 2010, so I guess I was sort of right at the beginning of sort of how, the Twitter stuff, right? And so I see benefits and obviously I see concerns with it, right? And you've raised a few of them. I will say I think a benefit of it from somebody who reports and covers folks is a lot more transparency now. A lot of members, not all, but some members will tweet out why they voted a certain way. I think that's very helpful for constituents, very helpful for taxpayers to see why did my member, why did somebody that I support, don't support, why did they do what they did. But you're right, there has been a tendency, not just on Twitter, but, you got the TikTok, you got, I don't use any of these apps. I'm forgetting them. I'm too old. I'm sorry.
I am too. You're not. Real quick. But yeah, so that's the other side of it. So, all right.
It's good. I think we can talk about the impact more broadly that social media has had on society, and I think you're going to reach a lot of the same conclusions.
All right, Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill. Jared, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we'll take a break and come back. When we come back, 2 Texas Tech football announcers suspended for a game because of what they said about the officials. That's next when Talkline continues on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
UTSEC, several hundred patients at the Beckley VA Medical Center are being urged to get a blood test after receiving acupuncture treatments from a convicted doctor.
The VA says an internal review discovered that Dr. Jonathan Yates, sentenced to 25 years in federal prison earlier this year for sexually abusing patients, treated some patients with acupuncture. He was trained in acupuncture but not credentialed. The Beckley VA Medical Center formed a review team once it found out and discovered about 372 potential patients may have received the treatments from Yates. The VA says it has no way to tell if Yates did everything he was supposed to do when administering the treatments, so the agency is contacting the patients, urging them to get a blood test. The VA says the chances of having a bloodborne disease from the treatments is very small. I'm Jeff Jenkins, WVMetroNews.com.
West Virginia is continuing to hold virtual public hearings over the next month on the state's substance use response plan. The next meeting gets started this hour. The hearing takes place after the CDC announced new data Wednesday showing overdose deaths have spiked by nearly 63% in West Virginia, the second highest in the nation. Governor Jim Justice says more West Virginians need to get their COVID-19 booster shots.
You know, I would say if you're breathing, you can get your booster shot. And I would highly encourage you to go do so.
Messages have been sent out to residents who have been fully vaccinated. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
The holiday season is right around the corner. So give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. Give them a Stihl. From powerful trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws under the tree to branded accessories stuffed in their stockings, the Stihl Holiday Gift Guide has something for everyone. Visit your local Stihl dealer or go to stihlusa.com/gift guide. Real Stihl. Find yours. Available at participating dealers while supplies last. Stihl outdoor power tools may be hard to wrap, but once they get opened, you'll see why Stihl is so easy to give. Find the right gift this year with battery power made by Stihl. From mowers and blowers to trimmers and chainsaws, our AK Homeowner series of battery tools starts at just $199.99. Shop now by visiting your local Stihl dealer or going to stihlusa.com/gift guide. Real Stihl. Find yours. All prices MSRP available at participating dealers while supplies last.
Today is the Great American Smokeout, sponsored by the American Cancer Society. Spokesperson Christy Young says it's an event to try and help people kick the habit.
You know, this is a day that's designated for folks who are thinking about quitting to go ahead and use the Great American Smokeout to quit. So that's a really great way for them to start, or at least to make a plan to quit.
The American Lung Association this week found West Virginia to be almost the worst state in America for smoking. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Carrie Hudasek.
Talkline from the Encova Insurance Studios. West Virginians who receive the Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine may now be eligible for a booster shot. Those eligible can visit any location offering the COVID-19 vaccines and bring their vaccination card. This is one more layer of protection for yourself, your loved ones, and your neighbors. Learn more at vaccinate.wv.gov. This is an unusual story. The Big 12 issued a public reprimand of the Texas Tech radio football announcers, saying they violated the conference sportsmanship and ethical conduct policies during the 41-38 Red Raiders victory over Iowa State last Saturday. Also, the two announcers, Brian Jensen, who's the play-by-play man, color commentator John Harris, have been sanctioned. They've been suspended. They're not going to be able to broadcast the next game. This is what the league said. The comments by the Red Raider Radio Network booth announcers were contrary to the expected levels of respect and professionalism, questioning the integrity of conference officials, and specifically calling out members of the officiating crew as well beyond appropriate and permissible behavior. Now, I have a couple segments I'm going to play for you, then we'll bring in Brad Howe to weigh in on this, but they were really, and there were some controversial calls in this game, but they were really riding the officials hard. And at one point late in the game, they read out the names of the officials. But let's listen to a couple of the comment that got the announcers in trouble. Here's one I want to play for, and I got a second one too.
I'll say it right now. The Big 12 does not want Iowa State to lose this game.
Yeah, Bob Bowlesby, you need to answer to this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen some horrendous calls today.
This is ridiculous. Unbelievable. The inconsistency of this referee crew in favor of Iowa State today. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Unbelievable. Well, I just hope the Tech can come back out after this, score another one, and put this one to bed so this officiating crew can sleep tonight.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Head official, and now there's a discussion.
Yeah, they're over there talking to Matt Campbell. They're saying, hey,
they're also talking to Sonny Cumbie over here as well. They're going to review something.
Well, maybe the referee has a concussion and he needs to get a trainer because he's acted like it this whole game.
All right, so there are a couple of the comments. I got more I want to play. Let me bring in Brad Howell, Metro News Sports. Brad, good morning. Thanks for joining us. What's your takeaway on this?
Good morning, Hop. First of all, I didn't even realize the Big 12 could suspend announcers like that, so start with that.
Okay.
Listen, we've been on the air. We've questioned officials' calls. We have done that as well. I know that happened. I do think these guys probably went a little bit far. When you start naming off the names, and maybe that's a clip you're going to play in a minute, start naming off the names of every official in the crew, that's tough. That probably does cross the line. And listen, I'm just not a big conspiracy guy. You need to come to me. I need to see some hard evidence. I know that's easy to say, hey, the league wanted this team to win. That's tough when you start to go down that road without any evidence behind it.
Yeah, a couple of things. Now, I've listened to this, I've thought about this, I've called a couple of people and talked to people I respect on this subject. And one is that, look, everybody questions the officials, right? I mean, that goes with the turf. I do think there is a difference when you suggest that there is that the league is conspiring with the officials to change the outcome of a game. And that's what you hear. That's what you hear implied. That's what you infer from those comments. And also when you call out the officials by name as though you're targeting the officials. So you think that's where it crosses the line?
Yeah, I do, because I just don't know that that's necessary. But listen, this is a tough issue, Hop. Take this one aside, because again, I think that most people will agree on this. They probably went too far, so okay, there needed to be some sanction. But this deal on officiating is a tough, nuanced issue, Hop. Number one, you're having trouble getting officials into the game, right? And these are some of the reasons why, because of the abuse they take live and in person, and not just on the radio or on the TV or wherever it may come from. So that's an issue. But the second part of this is, as this has become a monster $100 million business, billion-dollar business, and you still have officials that are part-time that are affecting the outcome of this. They're affecting the outcome of people's jobs making $4 and $5 million a year. So something also has to be done to make sure you have good, consistent officiating, that your review process is good and solid, which, as we know, it isn't always. So this issue may be a black and white. Yeah, they probably needed sanctions. But the overall how games are officiated and administrated, I think, is open for discussion. And I think leagues and schools need to take this seriously. One, try and get more officials in, but two, make sure that it is above board and you're getting the best officials that you can.
Once again, there's a reprimand, and the two game announcers have been suspended. They're not going to be allowed to broadcast this week. And people I know we talked to kind of went, wow, can you do I mean, right. We've never heard of that, have we? I've never heard of that.
If somebody has, then kudos to them, because I have not heard of that. To me, that was my first surprise is, league can just come in and suspend you. Because it wasn't the school. It was the league that did that, which, I was a little bit surprised by that.
Let's listen to another cut here of what the announcer said, and this is another part that got him in hot water.
This has been a remarkable day and a remarkably horrible day of officiating by this crew.
Yeah, the Big 12 should be embarrassed. The Big 12 should be embarrassed with this crew. And we've only pointed out two guys. I'm going to read them all to you.
All right, so I didn't have him read the names again. I mean, it's there. That's what he said on the air, and I wasn't going to play him again. But so that's over the line, you think?
Well, I think that's where it was, because I think the other part of that, I mean, that happens. You could say that. And listen, people are free to take shots and have maybe unfairly at the quarterback, at the receiver, at the coaches. Everybody's open for shots.
No, that's
and
true.
one of the things you hear, the officials only have to meet with a pool reporter after the game, and sometimes that's not enough to explain some of the calls. So that's what I mean. This is not an easy issue. There's a bunch of layers to this if you start to get down into it. We know coaches complain all the time, and I get it. But there's also some accountability that needs to be in there for these officials sometimes as well. And I'm not necessarily taking a judgment stance on this game. I didn't watch it closely enough. I had it on, had no rooting interest in this, so some of those calls aren't going to be as glaring to me. But that's an issue. There's administrators and coaches that say, hey, listen, if everybody else is open for fire, the officials should have to stand there after the game and explain some of these decisions.
Yeah, that's interesting. And also think about this, Brad. Think about the things that are said to officials from coaches and assistant coaches in football and basketball and every sport during the game. Now, I know every official has sort of their line.